Welcome, another Tech Tuesday. What are we talking about?
We're talking about sliders.
Slidey slide. If you guys ever seen a shot pushing in on something, maybe coming around a corner, a million different ways this thing can be used. But this is a huge tool in our toolkit every time we're on set.
Yeah, I mean, chances are what he was just talking about was probably done on a dolly. But, you know, sliders.
Well, let's talk about that. We had a dolly slider.
We did.
And you were doing a slider move with a dolly.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, you'll see this and go, where do you mount it? What is this? How do you mount it? Well, the idea here is, help me lift this thing up. This guy on the bottom is a Mitchell mount and can attach to any Mitchell that you need. So if you have, say, a dolly, tripod, what other variations would you hook this onto? I think that's about it.
That's pretty much it.
Maybe
well,
some
that's
apple,
not true.
Apple boxes.
Apple boxes, we put it on the ground. You put apple boxes underneath each side. Also, what you can do too is you can unscrew this whole mount right here. And then lay it down on a table to get super low. So there's a couple different variations of things that you can do with this slider. And this is the 3-foot slider. They also, I mean, you can pretty much buy this in any length that you would want or need. Industry standard is a 3 or a 4-foot slider.
Why is 3 or 4 foot industry standard, and why would going bigger than a 4 foot may sometimes be not good?
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to weight and size, right? Majority of the time, what we use sliders for on like a big film set is that these are going on the ends of dollies. Your dolly grip then pushes you as the camera operator around wherever that may be, or it's on track. And then the slider that goes on the dolly is then used to reframe inside the shot. So say we line up a shot, the dolly grip lands me like we're on a tripod or on a dolly. Dolly grip pushes us in. The dolly grip hits his mark every single time because they can see it and look at it, right?
Chonky.
But actors can't see their marks, and sometimes they're off by like an inch or two. And sometimes we line up like such specific shots that it's like, well, unless the actors hit their mark every single time, we're not going to be able to like.
Well, and things don't always go according to plan every single time.
Right.
So this is kind of like a safety net in that scenario.
Exactly. So like when the actors land and they're on their marks or they're close to their marks, then we can then reframe the camera so that we get that nice clean over the shoulder or whatever it may be.
Yeah, sometimes the DP will just be like in the operator's ear, like, hey, little left, little right. And with a dolly, you're locked into a track or different things. Or you could get creative and do like a dolly push and then peek around a corner. And that gives you that like almost 3-axis motion without having to have a super complicated setup.
That's still super smooth.
Yeah. Why this brand? Are there other brands out there? I see this brand all the time. Kind of teeing you up here.
Yeah, 8Ball is like a great brand. They're manufactured by a grip that has worked on a ton of big stuff. He guarantees all of his stuff too. Super nice guy. If you need any of his products, your stuff serviced, you can send it into him and he'll service it for you if that may need be. But they're like built by somebody that actually has been on a film set and has been through it. Some of the other sliders that you get from some of these other companies, like, I won't name brands. Some of these other companies, they're not built to withstand the rigors of on-set life. Yeah. Like, we beat the shit out of this stuff, and it needs to be able to last.
I've seen these gone through like desert, snow, multiple weeks without being cleaned to just getting thrashed in like Utah weather, and it's worked flawlessly. Now, don't get me wrong, you always come across certain things, but I've never seen Super 8 where they haven't been able to take it apart, fix it really quick, like right on the spot. Everything on this thing is super robust, like it's pretty straightforward, feels bulletproof.
Yeah, so this one, it's all machined aluminum. He's done what he can to like machine out things to try to make it lighter, but like really it's built like a tank. And this actual slider itself was on Yellowstone. And it's Chonky's slider that we've had on the show, a podcast a couple times. But this one has been through it, and he has a story where like camera operator like literally drug this through the dirt and sand to get the shots, and then literally you undo these 4 screws on the end right here, and then this slider slides off, and then you can clean the track.
Yeah,
Inside
get in
there with a little oil, and it literally takes 5 minutes to clean the whole thing, and then you're like back to up and running.
Yeah, and if for whatever reason, like something heavy comes down right on your track and puts a dent in it or something, it's super easy to just unbolt and put that part right back in.
Yep.
And with him being super communicative, you can just hit him up, he'll send you that part or send it in to get serviced. So something like that versus say a bigger brand that you may not be able to get in contact with, or you may need to order a brand new one and figure out the warranty later. It's really nice knowing that they have your back on this.
Yeah, there's some of the other brands that are out there. They might be like by a Chinese company or they might be American company, but if they're bigger, some of them they just don't hold up.
Yep.
You know, like they might be good sliders for like 6 months. And then after 6 months, the bearings that are inside that these slide on, they get gummed up and you can't clean them because you can't take it apart because they don't want you to take it apart. And they're just not designed in a way to be like that onset friendly. And so, yeah, you can go buy a cheap slider for like, you know, $500 to $1,000 and it'll last you maybe 6 months to a year if you take really good care of it.
Yeah.
But if you're working on like bigger film sets where things get banged and thrown around and dragged through the dirt and things like that, then it kind of justifies the price of the bigger slider or the more expensive sliders, I would say, like an 8-ball. I think this is like $4,000.
They're up there.
It's either $4,000 or $6,000, which I know a lot of you guys are probably going like, holy crap, that's a lot for a slider. This is an investment for like a dolly grip. You know, he puts it out on rental when he gets on a show. He gets rental for this. And then it works, you know, like the whole movie or a whole run of a TV show, and it pays itself off pretty quickly, actually.
Yeah, and not to mention, you don't have a lot of control over that stuff, too. A lot of the times, you're just sending it out with other people. So investing in equipment that, yes, it may cost a little bit more, but knowing that you have that control to be able to take it apart, fix it, maintenance it. First, just buying something, say, a little cheaper, but other people are using it. It's not their stuff. They're going to beat it up. It's going to get treated not as nice as if it was your own. So, but jumping back here a little bit, why is, say, a 3-foot slider better than, say, like a 6-foot slider?
Yeah, sorry, we skipped over that. So, like, even the 4-foot slider is, you know, it's another foot longer than this. And when you're on a film set, sometimes working inside houses, or you're on stage on sets that are built like houses, you don't have a lot of room to, like, have a really big slider. Sometimes you're, like, A cam's right here, B cam's right next to you. And you don't often have like a ton of room to move around when you have the 4-foot slider. And so like usually on a film set, you actually will have a 3-foot slider on one dolly and a 4-foot slider on the other dolly. And then sometimes you have to swap them back and forth. Sometimes the B operator might need to do a bigger move than the A. And so like they might be interchangeable. But for the most part, you would find 2 3-foot sliders on a film set. And it's just to like, it's just size.
Well, and I think for me too, one thing to consider is most of the times these are being ran on sticks or on a dolly.
Yeah.
And a lot of that time you have a super heavy camera rig. So if you have anything bigger than 3 feet, when your operator's moving from say far left to far right, you may get a little bit of like sway and unbalance, which these guys make awesome things where you can put a baby pin in almost everywhere on this thing, C-stand it and lock it in. But a lot of the time you may not have the room for that. You're run and gun, you're on a dolly move where you could rig it off of the dolly to help support it, but that's sometimes limiting to your actors. So having say something that's like 2 or 3 feet where it just gives you more in case an actor moves and you need a little bit left or a little bit right. If you're doing a big push, most of the time we're making that move within the dolly track or like a dolly itself. So I guess what I'm trying to say is you're not really using a slider to do a big push in or a big push out. You're really using a slider to give yourself that room to where things aren't going perfect. Your operator has a little bit of left and right to dial in the shot.
Yep. And whether that's on sticks or on a dolly,
Yeah.
that's pretty much what we use sliders for, is to kind of reframe the shot so the operator has a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, but they make for a nice little push in and push out shot if you need it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
If it's there, you'll use it, right?
So
That's one of those things.
yeah, if you guys have a slider, or say you're thinking about getting a slider, you shoot some awesome footage with it, send it to us, guys. We'd love to see it. Heck, we may even throw it in our videos and do a review on slider shots or something. We love questions, we love comments, so interact with us and let us know what your guys' thoughts are.
Yeah, check out some of our other videos, and please like and subscribe. See you on the next one.
Peace.